I literally had the GoPro laying right there from another video, and I was doing some work this morning. I was like, you know what? Somebody might watch this. So what it is, I've got a 2001, not real sure, XJ 4.0, and it was a core from a buddy of mine. So I was like, if I go put it over behind my brother's shop where all my other cores go, I'll never touch it, and I know I won't. So huge demand for those motors, like huge. So I just asked him, I think he said it's just sludgy. I think it got run hot. So I may tear it apart, it may be junk. I'll never know. Like I said, if it goes over there, I'll never touch it. So got my engine stand. Somebody wanted a video on that too, so I need a motor to put it on there to run. So like I said, if you're self-employed and you're busy, you probably understand the only way to get things done is just to do them and deal with the consequences. So we'll get through on the engine stand. Took apart. I don't think I'll be very technical on the tear down. I'm just going to do it and then kind of discuss it as it's tore down. Got it on the stand there, and I just did a short video on this, but you work on these long enough, you see so many things that tell you context clues. So like I said, I know this motor's sludgy. Well, I ain't got the valve cover off yet, but pretty recent water pump. Actually, where's the date? 9, so that's 2019. There's always a stamp on there. And then new coolant sensor, which means they probably was trying to disagree with the gauge. It's obviously had a thermostat. You can see gasket. And this head bolt's been cut off, which means at some point somebody's done a head swap, a head gasket, something like that. And yeah, so that's one thing. A guy commented, he's like, the stuff that you pick up off videos that you don't even realize is like where I hook the chains, either here or that bolt right there, and then not the very back one. Even though it's cut off, I still use this one up here, and then usually right in front of the oil cap right there. And then sometimes you'll have to use like a ratchet strap to go from here to usually right there to kind of tilt it over. So just little tricks. Oil actually didn't look too bad at all. You know, motor's not clean. I think, hold up. Let's see. Yep, she's definitely sludgy. Oops, stuff's falling out on me. So she's definitely sludgy, which again means it's probably been run hot. So don't necessarily mean nothing's bad. So let me get it took apart more and we'll keep on going. Could be worse, could be better. Like I said, you can tell it's run hot. You can see a little bit of aluminum there. So I'm gonna try to, the rest of them, I mean, you can actually see the cross hatches. So could be better, could be worse. So I'm gonna knock them out, see if that stuff will hone out. Like I said, these motors, I'll use in personal builds. If somebody comes along and says, hey, I want it, I'll sell them. The head actually looked pretty good. I haven't seen, usually maybe a crack there, sometimes a crack there, you just never know. And I'm not rolling it over. Actually, hold on. Why do these have to be so heavy? I hate to have to deal with these all day. So it did have MLS gasket, and the 0331, not the Tuppy, they're known to crack right across here. So I actually cleaned it earlier, didn't see a crack. That's pretty surprising for a known run hot motor. So guess, and like I said, the oil looked good. I may cut the filter open, but see what the rod bearings and all that looks like and go from there. I think we're pretty good. Like I said, I took a video on my phone. Man, it's so sludgy, it's just nasty. But nothing's really wrong, it's just a nasty motor. So I know I've got to do honing. They're not the best, but like I said, I've done this a million times. Everything should work out. Even the rod bearings, I mean, they all look really good for, I don't even know how many miles this motor had. That's why I don't do anything but miles. I mean, it may have 100,000, may have 300,000. But the only one piston right there is starting to crack. The rest of them's all good. But that's what I wanted to say. That's when pistons crack. These motors are known for it, is they'll get hot and then somebody will change the head on them and put it back together, and then heat cycles, whatever, not scientists, but that's when they usually crack. So like I said, everything's looking good. I definitely need new pistons. I probably do new rods. Probably gonna do a new oil pump. And usually I just go get a head over there, and it's kind of confusing situation. Like all the heads technically belong to me, but Justin Reed does them. And then if they're good, he sells them, and then he keeps his portion, he gives me my portion of them. So now that I actually know how to do valves, I may actually learn how to clean them and check them. So I may actually get to reuse that head. That's not I know y'all care less, but that's something I've never done before. So gonna get everything boxed up. All I need is those and then a head. And yeah, I'm gonna wash the rest of the stuff over here. Turns out I can't say wash. I can't say wash. I can only say wash. I guess it's a southern thing. Got everything cleaned up. I can't decide if I'm gonna make this video short or in depth. I'll figure that out on my own. I don't like long videos, but I like being detailed about what I'm doing. So it's kind of a struggle. So got the head all cleaned up, and I've never checked for cracks. It's something machine up here, puts electromagnet in between. So I hope there's not a crack, but say there was a crack, you put it, hold on. So I'm making him learn me how to do this because I don't know, but pretty self-explanatory. But check it out. It's a WJ head that come off of an XJ. How about that? I really have no idea why they even do that. I feel like the heads would be the same unless they're different springs. What you got there?
The sauce.
The dust. Like I said, I'm just gonna tell you instead of trying to tell you and not even show you anything, but it magnet on this side, magnet on that side, now it creates, the head is magnetized and it's trying to pull this dust down in there. So if there is a crack, it'll pull it in there.
It's cracked.
Mm-hmm. Where? Right there?
Mm-hmm.
That's a crack?
Mm-hmm.
For real?
It's no good.
I hope y'all can see that.
Hold on, we'll put a little more in there.
There's some more dust. Man.
Very, very common.
And I legit was just telling y'all about that. So I guess that answers my question about being detailed in this video. I'm gonna go get a head off the shelf. Phone's ringing. Indianapolis, I'll pass. So this head's cracked, but y'all seen the oil. The oil looked perfect. And I'm not gonna get really detailed, but I've been doing this for a long time. And I've seen so many of these WJ heads crack, but come off of a good motor. So I don't think the crack is sufficient enough, big enough, whatever the word I'm looking for, to actually put enough water into the coolant that it even matters. It may put like a drop every few hundred miles, which evaporates. So this head, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. I'm gonna pull a vacuum on it, but I'm actually gonna put it on a Jeep and just daily drive it. So I wanna know if that crack even makes a difference. Go ahead.
Some JB Weld on it.
No, I ain't even gonna JB Weld. I ain't running stop leak. I'm gonna just run pure straight water. Well, that's another day's project. So that head's that. I hope Justin's got me another head. And now I gotta figure out if I got any more pistons. Got them washed, gotta get them pressed off. It's not fun. Okay, I had to wait for Justin to quit hammering on stuff. Got them set up. You got a little jig here you set, keep them from rocking. You got a pin you put in there and you got a press. And then luckily these 96 to 06 Jeep pistons, you have to heat the rod up with MAP gas. So definitely a long, boring process, but gotta happen. Okay, so they all successfully actually come off there. Usually, that's why I had to heat them. Usually that little crack I showed you before, I don't know which piston this is, but, well, it's actually the cracked. Cool. But usually they'll try to bust on you, so just preheat them, just to be safe than sorry. And I've got the rods. Justin's got a set of stock pistons, but I still got to make sure that block's gonna clean up. So back to my shop and hone the block. All right, Friday morning, my boss said if I can get this thing running, I can have the rest of the day off. Got everything honed out, looking good. And I'm gonna take the lifters, sit them right over there with everything else. I'll get them cleaned up with some brake cleaner and all that. And that's one of the touchy subjects. People may not agree with me, but I reuse the stock lifters. It's a long story, but we run in, anything you buy new is made in China, and it's just not as good as those are. So that's personal preference. I'm up for arguing on that one, but I've seen a lot of stuff. So gonna get them put over there, and get everything washed up and ready to go back together. Gotta go put some pistons on the rod. And I will say that's what I was thinking. It's like I've already made 1 or 2 of these videos, but this is still my job. I haven't, you know, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, so I still have to do stuff to make money, but one day we'll do cool stuff. Most definitely getting there. Got the oil pan, got it clean. I'm not as worried about like the outside. I'll probably re-wash this again, but got the bores, got everything. I didn't have diesel, well, I didn't feel like going in there and getting diesel, so I just sprayed everything with WD-40. Got the lifters all cleaned up. I'm gonna wait right before I go back together and put grease on them so they don't attract dirt. But got all my gaskets. I'm fixing to do a rear main on it, and we need some pistons and a head. Getting there. It's funny, the lifters, my philosophy on the lifters, I actually got a lot of people to agree with me. And another thing, just my opinion, I've seen millions of Jeep, is every time you take a thing or drop the pan off a Jeep and you look, you'll see the timing chain has a lot of slack. You can put a brand new one on and it'll look just like that. And like I said, I've seen them with 500,000 miles, I've seen them with 100,000 miles, they all look just like that. So could you put a new one in? Yes. Would it? I don't know. And I've never ever seen one jump time. I have no idea why. A 2.5 is different. I think the inline 6 is so smooth on the transition of everything that it's not hard on parts, whereas a 2.5 is sitting there just ratcheting on the cam. So like the what is that thing that goes right there, the rubber isolator or whatever, you can just take one out of 4.0. It never even uses it. But a 2.5, if you don't have it in there, it'll pow 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 slap. So just something I've learned. I feel like I'll share. I mean, I know I'm wrong, but all right, it's about lunchtime. Go grab some parts. I'm gonna grab these valve seals. I don't use these over here. Justin used them. So I gotta get some pistons put on the rod and gotta get a head. We got a head picked out, and I'll come back over here and check the ring gap on there, make sure everything's right. And yeah, my goodness, I was supposed to have this. I told y'all I was gonna have this motor running today. It is 4 p.m. Friday, so I'm trying. It's just a very busy person. Like, so I hope to maybe one day be less busy, but probably unfortunately not. But got some seal powers, got all the rods. This is quite a boring process, so I get everything ready. There's nothing to see. We oil the pan, mark some stuff, but I think I've already did one video on this, so try not to overdo it. But if Justin will film me when I get ready, I'll show you one of them, and then yeah, maybe I'll be off work by then. Okay, so like the flat spot on the piston right there, you see the flat part of the dish, it's got to match up with the lock. So Justin leaves this over here for reference because it just gets confusing every time. So he does it a different way, but I put a mark on this side with all the locks, and then flip the piston over. That's flat side, so that's got to match up, but you got to drop it off in cherry red in there, and just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of experience how long it stays in there. And then you'll take the piston or the pin, piston pin, have it right about there, and then as soon as it does, you have to force it quick as possible, and then you have to hover the rod, make sure it's centered. I can't explain why. It's like the most intense doing nothing you've ever done. So I'm gonna let some get preheating, and maybe he'll walk over here and catch me on one of them. I'm gonna try to be quiet. If you can hear it, it's catching the oil residue on fire, but there's no oxygen, so it's woof, woof, woof. So yeah, we'll wait till somewhere up here gets like too hot to touch. Like I said, it's just experience. I bought a 3-cent clock to go off of, but you get tired. You can't keep watching the clock for like 6-7 minutes, so we'll probably do nothing with that clock ever. Okay, so if you can see, he's busy doing nothing. I think it's about right. Like I said, I get so nervous about this part, I don't know why, but here we go. No, yes. You gotta wait on it to there, grab the wrist pin. Now it's heated the pin up, now it's grabbed the aluminum. And if the GoPro battery will last, I'll let you watch it. Oh, gotta put another rod in. See, it's just sitting there, and when it cools down, it'll fall. Oh, what did I tell you? So I'm gonna get these knocked out. I think my battery's dead, but like I said, just a boring process, but gotta happen. Heck yeah, I'm so glad that's over with. I don't know what it is about that, but not much of enjoyment. So if you can see, they still smoking hot. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's smoking. And Friday, 4:30, so not gonna run today. I'll catch up with it next week. So Monday rolls around, I about forgot what I was doing. I pulled the rear main off, and it looks like somebody just replaced it like a few months ago. So I just popped it back on there, just torqued it back down. So I'm gonna put my lifters back in there. Gotta put some, wherever it's at, grease. But I'm finally gonna cut the oil filter open. It's been draining for about a week and a half now, so maybe all that goopy stuff is out of there. Kind of like a brake line cutter, ain't nothing crazy to see here. You just keep spinning around, tightening it. What the heck? Well, they've got a very good drain back valve. I'll give them that, because it's been upside down for a while. Let me get this mess cleaned up. I'll be back. Well, it's obviously very sludgy, but for a Walmart filter, they got a good drain back valve. But, I mean, I don't see no metal anywhere. It's just pretty nasty. So, nothing to see there. I got to go get the pistons, but I think I got enough time. I'm going to get all them lubed up, stuck back in there. Like I said, I kept them. I know it looks like they're just sitting there, but that's front to back. So, I haven't forgot, make sure put them back exactly where they come from. Alright, well I came getting pistons and heads and all that stuff, and I only figured it would make sense to put the rings on the pistons in an air conditioning shop. So I don't really have any special advice for it. I mean, just make sure you get them right. Be careful, don't break them, because if you break one, it's a lot of trouble to come up with one. You have to wait a while. So, alright, I got them all done. Unfortunately, I've got to go back to the heat and work in the heat. If you ever find yourself with a box like that, be sure, like, cradle underneath it. Ask me how I know. The bottom will fall through. So, we'll go pick out a head, get the pistons. Should be everything I need. Nothing real exciting to see here. This is the kind I use. I've got this style right here, but it's so thin when you're hammering them down, it'll actually go inside with the piston and ring. And then I guess the only other trick I really have right now is I'll put it on BDC, which bottom dead center, and then just, you know, tap it down till it settles out. One of the things, you can take motor building over seriously. It's just whatever fits your need. But grease I use, got some new rod bearings, so now not even that it matters. I still got them numbered, but they're all brand new, so it don't even matter. So I'm gonna get that knocked out. Nothing real exciting to see. All right, got all the pistons in. I'm going to get some, well, I already got them. Rocker arms are absolutely filthy. I think I cleaned the valve cover off, but I was just looking around. Justin had some rocker arms that he had washed. There's my head, so I'm gonna use that stuff. Yeah, went ahead and bolted the head on. I was letting the oil screen wash in the parts washer, but one thing is, I know y'all can't see numbers, 35 thousandths, but especially auto lights, they're just a cheaper plug. But I have seen them where they get shipped or dropped, or I don't know, but the electrode there will actually be smashed down, so watch out for that. And I'll say this every single video, this head bolt gets torqued. Rest of them's 110, this one gets 100, and Permatex on it. It goes into a water jacket, so be sure and don't miss that. All right, I'm a few days behind on this motor. I've been telling the guy I'd get it done. So kind of laid the camera down and got some work done, but everything's going good. Got all the rockers on. Gotta go get a gasket at my brother's shop. I got all my gaskets over there, but got a water gauge. I know it's not really gonna make a difference, but I've never seen one. Usually on this stand, since it's so short, it's just sitting there jumping around. So yeah, I'm gonna run over and gotta get an oil pan gasket. I just got a top end set, but I've got the other gaskets from other kits. So I'm gonna go get those, get this put together. Just about there. I just had to go get these little studs here. He takes them out when he shaves all this stuff off there. But it's like I say, I always gonna try to teach you something in my video. And well, let me show you where I'm going. This is a coil pack head. It's got coil pack, but that current harness is 99. That's what I got to doing some figuring. I think 99 is the most universal. So I'll have to take this cam sensor out and then put an actual distributor. Well, that's my oil pump primer there. I got a gear knocked off it. But literally, as soon as this motor is running, I'm gonna pull everything back off, and that's the video I started right there of, I think, a 99 harness, 99, probably 98 through 2001 harness, standalone harness. And I just never had a motor to run on the stand to finish the harness. So that's that. Oh, and that's what I was gonna show you. The exhaust ports, if you didn't know this, I'm sure most people probably do, but if you didn't, they're actually smaller than the 99 and older, whatever year they changed over. If you look right there, you can see, I don't really know, whatever reason they did, the intake stayed the same, but for whatever reason they did it, I've heard emissions, gas mileage, I've heard everything, so I can't, no hard evidence there, but just gonna pour some oil in there and then prime it. I'll let y'all watch that. That's always satisfying, if as long as it works. Got the driver out and got my other driver in, or distributor, and just got some oil in there. I'm sure everybody wants to know what I run. Cheap stuff. That is, well, that's the older Rule King. I don't know if y'all have them where you're from, but it's really a lot cheaper, affordable. So about half price is what's in my town. But like, I'm not gonna get really technical. My dad used to work at a oil factory, and he taught me, you know, read all this stuff. It's gibberish to me, but they all have to meet this expectation. So it's this good, but does that mean, you know, if you buy a more expensive oil, it's more up here? So can you get better stuff? Yes, but is this just as good as something else? Probably. So not a fake person, first time. There it goes. Gotta fill the filter. 50 with a drill, pretty good. So that should be good. I'm gonna prime it for a little while and I guess get everything on it to crank it up. I think I'm ready. You can tell right here, just take a bolt out, and it was hitting that bracket, so I take it off there. And I just wedged some in there, tighten that one up. So I'm fixing to order a electric water pump. That way when we put them on here, there'll be literally no belts. Just put it on there, flip switch. Got the fuel. This is what I was talking about, this harness. I went and spliced both year model injectors on there, and then I had to extend this wire. Overextended the O2 sensor. Like I said, it's as universal as I can make it, but if you're self-employed, stuff like this that don't immediately pay no money, you don't put a whole lot of effort into. So works, gets the job done. I think it's ready for starting up, and like I said, I'm not fake, it's ice cold, and somebody designed this wrong. You can't see the gauge there. Let's see, got water in it, fuel pump, fuel pressure. You can hear the idle air actuate. Exhaust comes out right here, so you gotta watch out. Bad news for me, good news for y'all, kinda, sorta, not really. Runs perfect, but you can see, what is it, 120, 130 degrees. But I'm not satisfied with the oil pressure. Now, you just watched me put rod bearings in there. That's a used pump I had laying around I thought was good, so I'll be honest, I don't know if that's it. I don't know, but check it out. Like I said, it's not hot, I ain't drove it. video and then I'll pick the camera back up. Okay, so I got a game plan. If you haven't watched it, I've uploaded. I don't think it'll be uploaded by now on my channel. But I had a pretty nice Cherokee and it run good. But if you drive to town and come back, the oil pressure would fall to like 17, which it was hot outside then. But I put a high volume oil pump in there and I didn't think it would fix it, but it actually did fix it. Or it made it to my liking, I guess you'd say. Went from like 17 to like 40 something when you drove town, come back. So the motor was actually, you know, deep down hot inside, not just like coolant temperature. I think the bottom end was actually up to temperature. So got another gauge. I'm just gonna check it. I haven't crunked it yet. And I personally think it's lifters, but we've never, that's why I was talking to my brother. He's built brand new 100%, every bearing, every cam, every lifter brand new, and still had some with low oil pressure, lower than normal. You know, they say 13 is fine, but they should be more than that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check this oil pressure. I may pull the valve cover off. If you think about it, there's 12 lifters and there's only 4 cam bearings, 4 or 5, and there's 6 rod bearings and then 7 main bearings. So there's almost more lifters than anything else combined. So got this gauge. I'm just gonna check it and then we'll pull the valve covers off, see if I see anything abnormal. But what I'm gonna do is run it and get it to, I don't know, 170 degrees hopefully, just something, and then I'm gonna write down my pressure and I'm gonna order a brand new milling oil pump and a brand new high volume, and that way kind of see what they do to help it. So let's just fire it up, see where we're at. Oops. I'll put the other gauge back on there and let it get up to operating distance. Okay, so alternator be quiet. We're essentially at about 150. Yeah, there it is. That's about as hot as it's gonna get without just a radiator. And right at 10 is what we got. Let me cut it off. I got a good test. So I got to dreaming. I was like, I used a different pump that was supposed to be good. It was a motor that just froze and busted. So it was a perfect motor before. But I got to thinking, I was like, what if, I did use the screen off that one, but I washed the absolute teetotal crap out of it. So I'm trying to think of a way to test flow instead of pressure. I was like, I wonder if it just simply can't get the oil to build the pressure. So got to dreaming on it. What I'm gonna do, I gotta drain the oil. That's the next step. Well, I'm gonna do this first. I'm gonna pull the valve cover off and just look, see if there's anything that needs to be addressed or whatever. But I'm gonna change. Let me start over. I get so tongue twisted because I got so much going on, I'm forgetting what I'm saying. What I'm gonna do, pull the valve cover, look at it, make sure there's nothing I see, it's just crazy out there. And then I'm going to order a milling standard pump and I'm gonna order a milling high volume. And that'll be, we'll see what differences those make, because it may just be a bad pump. I don't know. This is something we've run into. So, but I was curious if it's not getting oil, so I got to drain the oil when I get ready. So what I'm gonna do is where this screws in, I'm gonna take it out and use this thing, or no, wherever it went, the other one with no gear on it, and run a hose over into an oil jug and see how long it takes to pump the oil out of the motor. And I feel like that should show me the flow results versus the pressure. It's very confusing. I'm having a hard time explaining it. I know what's going on. I just suck at explaining things. All right, I got the valve cover off. Everything's hot. I may shut it off immediately. Sometimes they go sky high. It's not even getting the oil up to the top of the motor. I mean, there's enough, but not a lot. So I just wonder if the lifters, instead of sending it up, are just bleeding it out. I don't know. We're learning. I was lucky to be blessed with knowledge, but I'm just not a good talker. What I was trying to explain is, if I just let oil pump out of that, oil's still going to be pumping back into the motor wherever it's losing the pressure. So wouldn't really prove anything. It still would work. You still would get a test result. But I'm going to order a oil filter relocator. So technically it'd be pumping all the oil over here instead of losing some in there. So that's got to be ordered, and the oil pump's got to be ordered. So this motor technically still runs, and I got a little bit of time left for today. So I'm going to work on the wiring harness video, and then whenever stuff comes in, we'll get back on that. So I was sitting down to edit this video. I was waiting on parts I ordered. Oh, check this out. I ordered a high volume one, and it come with a screen on it. I went ahead and ordered an extra screen just to be cautious. I ordered a cheap pump, and I ordered another milling pump. They sent me a rebuild kit. So I think what I'm going to do is, and this video is already longer than I like, so I'm going to cut this video and I'm going to make the next video maybe interesting and see if we can learn something off of it. Because the whole time editing, I was like, I bet, even though I've washed this motor out, I bet the screen got stopped up. But I've been sitting here and I just fired it up earlier, but it comes up way too fast for the screen to be stopped up. So next video should be pretty cool. I gotta order the right pump, and I think I'm gonna do every single one of them just so we can learn. Ain't nobody else out here that I know of doing stuff like that, so I want to be the one to do it. So appreciate it.